Welcome to the Starting Over Podcast. I'm your host, Edward Shelton, aka Dark Logos, and this is a show where we look at strategies, tactics, and mechanics behind the game of heroclix. Alright, I know most of you are like, come on man, it's been a bit, we gave you a break, you went to Tulsa, but you gotta come back and do some content. Alright, cool. I'm here, I'm back. I'm gonna tell you in brief why I've sort of been just jacked on content, mainly because of Origins, just trying to get ready for Origins, trying to get teams ready, trying to get just creative ideas, and WizKids really hasn't made it easy. The fact that we have What If coming out a week before the tournament and it's legal defiles logic to me, because what that just indicates is you just sort of took a crap on everybody's preparation. And then I know you're going to say, but Dark Logos, we got the spoilers with Scott Porter, and we got WizKids dumping information. Wouldn't it all be good? No, because you still don't have time to get everything you need. Even if they gave us 2 weeks and just said, hey, everything 2 weeks out from Origins, that's fine. That would have been way better. Then they dropped this last minute bomb on us, which is something I wish they had been doing, but they're not doing. Is they said, hey, these con exclusives, they're not going to be legal for this Origins. And I would have been, and I'm like, yay, that's great. These certain con exclusives are not legal. Okay, but why couldn't you just make all of 2017 con exclusives not legal for the World Championship, legal immediately afterward, and just do that? It's not like you're going to have another major tournament for the brand until November. Okay, so there's that, and trying to help my teammates and just dealing with some other elements that just happened. And trying to enjoy Memorial Day weekend with family. And by the time I got through Memorial Day weekend, I was hanging out with my nephew, and I was just like, yeah, nephew time, great stuff. And I just didn't have anything to talk about. So again, I apologize. Didn't have tons of stuff. I should have left you with something cool to step to, but I didn't. All right, now for and brief shout outs to the gentleman I spoke to. I will leave unnamed. He made top 8 at Tulsa, and he's climbing up the mountain playing a Hulk. So shout outs to you, even though you're probably going to skip this part. All right, let's go in and start talking about What If, and how it's like if someone took a poo emoji and then put a cherry on top, and then told you, go on in and eat it. Yeah, that's pretty much it. That's what this set is. Now, I know some people would say, hey man, that's a little harsh. And I would be like, no, it's about accurate. So let's just break down why this is a poo emoji with the cherry on top. Because pretty much the majority chunk of this set is utter crap. It's been bad lately. And Avengers Defenders War gave me some second, third looks like, man, this could be a little bit better than I thought. Hey, it's not all that bad. But no, this stuff here is bad. This What If is just bad. Okay, so let's go into it. All right, first off, you have the Spider-Man, Peter Parker. He is okay. Let me just rephrase this. Normally, I don't talk about things I don't like. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to talk about things that are okay and the things that are good. And sadly, the things that are good, I can probably put on one hand. 2 hands if I'm really pushing it. So I'm just going to say things that are okay. All right. Spider-Man. Main reason, number one, Spider-Man, you're going to be using him. He's cheap. He's a wild card. He has hypersonic speed. He doesn't have super strength. He has a 3 base damage, and if he goes from higher elevation to lower elevation, he can increase his damage value. You know, so that's something that can be really, really interesting. You know, he has improved movement, ignores elevation. What happens if he like zigzags? You know, up elevation, down elevation, and back up elevation. Does he get the +1 damage? I would say so, because it says he can use hypersonic speed. When he does, modify his damage value by +1 if his target is on a lower elevation than the one Spider-Man occupied when he began moving. So, never mind. So yeah, if you have multiple elevations, I just think that this starts getting silly. You know, but anyway, let's keep going. Iron Man, that just sucks. Like, you got so many better Iron Mans. In the future, this might be better. I won't lie. In the future, that might be better. Then you have Punisher, which sucks because we just got a crap ton of good Punishers. Even the Fast Forces Punisher is better than this Punisher. This is crap. Okay. Daredevil is crap. We had Fast Forces Daredevil is way better than this. And I know some of you are saying, but it's like double the points. But it's just like, why would I play this low point crap here? Like, they don't give me anything, you know. So yeah. All right, now we have Thor. Now this isn't bad. Okay, he has that founding member trait, which just allows him to move, and then he isn't given an action token for that. So that's great. I like that. Then you have energy explosion. Then you have, hey, guess what? If I whack you really hard, you can't reduce below my click number. It's not bad. But here's the problem. We are going to get a dedicated Thor set. So why would I play this? Why would I go out of my way to buy this? This is a waste of plastic. Iron Lad, hey, if you like Runaways, then there's nothing I can do to convince you otherwise. It's sort of crap, but okay, whatever. You know, it's there. Enjoy it. Oni Hulk, I like this mainly because it gives you some fun monsters to play with. That's about it. There's nothing else that's really great about it. But yeah. And let's see. Punisher Squad. These are okay. Not great. They're okay. 5 range. WizKids is trying to like rein in range, but they're not doing the best job. But stealth, range combat expert. You can be a 10-3 at 30 points. Yay. So why don't you just make them a 10-3 instead of giving them range combat expert, which is a lot more expensive than just making them a 10-3 at 5 range. But you know, hey. And then giving them improved movement and improved targeting, shoot out of adjacency. Why don't you just make them a 10-3? You know, hey. The risk of outwit, you know, increases the value. Whatever. Dr. Stark. This is actually one of the first ones, like, you need to be mindful of this. And the main reason I feel that you need to be mindful of this is not necessarily because of Dr. Stark's usefulness, even though it is mildly useful. But the main reason is you use this guy on your sidelines if you're playing a Tony Stark or a Doctor Strange. And then what you do is when your Tony Stark or Doctor Strange or your Iron Man or whoever is about to die, you promptly swap in Dr. Stark and say, screw you, give them, you know, your gesture of choice, and now when they KO Dr. Stark, they're going to get 45 points. Yep. That is the new era of douchebaggery that WizKids did not think about. So unless your opponent wipes and you play to time, you can set up a situation where absolutely your opponent could not score more points than you. Definitely if you're looking at a situation where your Iron Man or your, you know, Doctor Strange is about half your build. which, the last time I checked, the best Iron Mans and Doctor Stranges are just about that, half your build or over. Alright. Next up, I give him props for trying. Iron Rick. Rick Jones comes in on the Rick Jones ID card. 5 range, 55 points. Force blast out the wazoo, all over the place. He has a special attack power. When Iron Rick knocks back an opposing character, any damage dealt from knockback is penetrating damage. After action resolve, give that character an action token. I like that. So you're almost guaranteed to do your knockback damage. Then molecular module gizmos. Iron Rick can use super senses and toughness. When he uses super senses on the result of 3 through 4, he can use invulnerability instead of toughness for the attack. So, yay, I like this. This is something different. Okay? It's something different, so yay for that. Alright. Let's keep going. Molly is okay. Chase Stein is okay. You're going to play him because you like Runaways. Jessica Jones, complete waste. We didn't need her. Okay, now we're in uncommons. We have Spider-Man, where he marries Black Widow, complete waste of plastic. This is stupid. Okay. Then we have Punisher, and I guess this is where he kills a bunch of heroes or whatever. And this is also a waste of plastic, because we could have played a better Punisher from Avengers Defenders War. Way better Punisher. So, no, this is dumb, a waste of points. Daredevil, Avengers Defenders War Fast Forces, again, way better. You're not playing this. Now, I know somebody will say, but hey, look, it's this special Daredevil. No, it's not. If you didn't read this stupid little trait here, what's the difference between this Daredevil and the 3 other ones with the same sculpt? Oh, just the dial. There is nothing from a storytelling perspective through the models that makes me feel compelled to play this figure. Okay? And I know someone, I talked with, my coworker Jake, and he's been on the show a long time ago. And I was trying to get him on the show for this, but we went, he wasn't necessarily compelled to be in the bright lights. But I was telling him, we should have a podcast in where we talk about the impact of WizKids double dipping, triple dipping, quad dipping on the sculpts, because they've been doing that, and they sort of abused our trust on that. But yeah, so Thor again, another crap Thor. Yeah, this is not good. I'm paying 100 points for a 6-click Thor. I'm probably going to get a better Thor in the Thor set. So why am I wasting my time using this Thor? Alright, here we go. Now this is one that actually is pretty good if you are trying to mess with points. Okay? So, first off, I give them props, because you get the same dial, but you get to decide which points you want. Okay, so you could pay 70 or 55 points for this. If you pay 70 points for enhanced polymer, the defense power, you get impervious. If you play 55 points, you get invulnerability. That's pretty good. It's only 2 clicks, which leads me to say, play it at 55 points. Now, I know a lot of you are like, hey, Edward, you're always promoting using the lower click points. And I'm really, yeah, I am. Because for 15 more points, having 2 clicks of impervious isn't going to help you in this meta. It really isn't. Now, if it was 3 clicks, or, the character was 6 or 7 clicks deep, and you lost a click or 2, I would be like, pay the 70 points, play this at 70 points, it'll be great. But it's not like that. But anyway, you have from an alternate Earth, blah, 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 replace Captain Britain or Iron Man. Again, this is lame, because you can completely replace a really good Iron Man, or if you're playing Golden Age, a really good Captain Britain, with a 55 point steaming pile of crap poo emoji with the cherry on top, and just say, hey, this is a 55-point Captain Britain Iron Man. Okay, so yay. Then you have sacrifice everything for this fight. Captain Britain Iron Man can use running shot. He can use it as a free action if he has 2 action tokens. But if he does, deal him 1 unavoidable damage after actions resolve, and do not clear his action tokens this turn. Which you might as well just said, hey, you have colossal stamina. Okay, or yeah. So anyway, you hurt yourself to keep shooting, which again defeats the purpose of playing this figure at 70 points. Because if you're needing to do that, then you're going to burn through your imperv real fast. So just pay 55 points for this. Alright, that's it. So Oni Leader, you suck. You suck hard. Now we're at Dr. Stark. Okay. I like automated counterspell because you can get energy shield deflection, and opposing characters within 4 squares can't use Psychic Blast, Precision Strike, or a Pulse Wave, and I like that. But this right here has to be clarified. If I'm outside of the 4 squares and I start to running shot, and the free action is the Pulse Wave, and I'm within the 4 squares, do I get to initiate Pulse Wave? And I would say the answer would be no, but they really don't make it clear with, the way that this is worded. Alright, so this is like your first, it's not quite poo, it's not quite playable, it's like there to be cute. Like that's the best thing I could tell you. It's there to be cute. It's not even... Yeah. I mean, the only other bonus I would say is the Mystic Team ability. So, yeah. Alright, let's keep going. Iron Punisher, you're actually pretty good. I like this one. Now, you might say, hey, Dark Logos, why do you like Iron Punisher and not like a lot of these other Iron Man-ish type figures? Well, number one, most of the time you're probably not going to use Iron Punisher to screw over your opponent out of points that they earned, because he's 100 points. I doubt there ever will be a Frank Castle that is over 100 points, like legitimately. Okay. Next off, yes, you can use them to screw me out of Iron Man points, but you're not screwing me out like of a ton of Iron Man points. Also, he starts with a 12 attack, flies, and is indomitable. 3 damage is not that great, but it's pretty darn good in the scheme of things being balanced. Okay, with characters being on average 5 to 6 clicks, having Iron Punisher with a 12 attack, and then, taking 2 turns to kill a figure, I'm fine with that. Or, you investing another 50 to 100 points so that Iron Punisher can get 6 damage. I'm fine with that. Alright? Because at least you put in the work. Now we got the special damage power. Did we free America? When Iron Punisher KOs an opposing character, modify friendly character's damage value by +1 until your next turn, which gives a really high incentive for you to use Iron Punisher first to KO somebody. But unfortunately at this stage he has just like 2 clicks of damage. So yeah, that's not the greatest. Alright, let's keep rolling. Carolina Dean, you're only going to play her if you like Runaways. TV Spider-Man, interesting as a tie-up piece, but he's too darn expensive. Now we're in the rares. You see how fast this is going, people? Like, just checking my personal timer, I'm not even at 30 minutes, and I'm a good way through this set. Okay, so we're at rares. Spider-Man, Peter Parker, Ben Reilly, not bad. It's not a bad investment, but we just had superior foes. I don't need more Ben Reilly in my life. I really don't. Working to keep this life when Spider-Man doesn't have 2 action tokens, he can use combat reflexes. Well, that sucks, because there's no incentive for me to push. You know, okay. Whatever a spider can, Spider-Man can use charge, improve movement, ignores elevated. Characters give Spider-Man a power action to move him up to a speed value and then make a close combat attack. So he has something like hypersonic speed, but not quite hypersonic speed, so he doesn't get screwed out of powers that negate hypersonic speed. And oh yeah, you can use super strength with hypersonic speed. So what they've done is they tried to recreate the 100-point super rare Spider-Man from the Superior Foes set. And then it's like, oh guys, hey. We know that hypersonic speed and super strength won't be working together really well anytime soon. So what we've given you is a character that does exactly what you want hypersonic super strength to do, except the fact it's not really Spider-Man. It's this ghetto, pseudo Spider-Man setup that we have here. And what's worse is that the clicks in which you get this like full movement, you only get it on 2 clicks. One on click 1 and the other on click 4, which makes me say to myself, well, why did you even waste my time making this power? I feel like you just wasted too much design time making this character. You should have, if you have the 11 attack up front, the perplex up front, at least I know that you're giving us a mea culpa, on the new rules. But I would say this Spider-Man's time is not now; it's in the future. He's also a Spider-Man TA, so he has potential. It's just frustrating. All right, then we have Daredevil, which I don't know why we're even looking at this. It would be fine. And I would say I'm really legit about this. This Daredevil would be fine if I didn't get 3 other Daredevils in this set. Not only that, if we didn't get rid of the Marvel Knights trait. I mean, not the Marvel Knights trait, the Marvel Knights ATA. Because then I feel like there would have been something that you could have done with them, giving him stealth or whatever else. But this is just a Daredevil running around in broad daylight. This is a man running around in a red suit, and it's not Comic-Con. Everybody's going to see him. This is not a good idea. Alright, now we have I'm a mind-controlled Thor. This, right now, is okay. When we go deeper into it, we'll find out that this is stupid. When new rules happens and damage depletion modifier goes away, this is broken. So let's explain a couple of things. Number 1, you can get a character that's mystical, that has perplex, and that's over 50 points real easily. Okay? That's the first thing. The second thing that you can do is just find a character that's 50 points and has prop. Okay, that's real easy. Now, you might say, hey, Dark Logos, why specifically these 2 things? Well, for the immediate time, if you're dealing with damage depletion modifier, you want to have 2 characters that are going to allow you to prop and allow for you to modify your damage so that you're able to maintain a pretty good stout amount of damage. So pretty much this whole setup works like this. I have figure mystical number 1. I give it, an action, a double power action, while it's adjacent to Thor, to take a shot and hit an opposing character. Then I have mystical character number 2, do the double power action so that Thor can take the shot, hit another person. Now at this stage I've done 5 damage because I've perplexed up my damage down to 4. Okay, now for my third action I'm going to proceed to running shot pulse wave. Okay, I'm going to running shot pulse wave with 3 damage. if it's not dead after the first two attacks, it should be dead after the pulse wave. And that's simply it. I feel like there might be better characters in the future, outside of Wizard, to abuse Thor with, number 30 Thor. But definitely I would say this is the Thor to look out for in competitive. But the main problem I have is that this character cannot do the trick in Wax Jakeem. So you can run a shot pulse wave, yes. Okay, but you're not going to be adjacent to your mystical buddies. Alright? So that's an issue. You can start adjacent to your mystical buddies and do all the shenanigans. But Jakeem has chances to shape change and super senses out of it. Then you're stuck with the damage depletion modifier in the immediate future. But when that goes away, you're golden. Alright, keep scrolling down. Spider-Man Ma'am for hilarity. This is probably one of the more entertaining figures that the spirit of the set should have had, but didn't have. TV's Daredevil. This guy is useful, and you might say, well, hey, Edward, you've crapped hard on a lot of other stuff. Again, emphasizing the poo emoji with the cherry on top. Why is this character good? Well, first off, he's 30 points. That's a low point introductory. He's a wild card. That is way more abusable than you think. He has plasticity in an age of Jakeem's hypersonic speeding and Goblin King's hypersonic speeding around. And that makes him great tie-up in combination with super senses. So those things I think are really great. Alright, then he has Movie Star. The first time each turn that a character without the celebrity or reporter keyword attacks TV's Daredevil, you may modify his defense by +2 this turn. If you do, modify his attack value by -2 until the end of the turn. You know what? You're never really attacking with Daredevil. He's sitting there, he's copying scrolls, he's copying Mystics, he's copying Avengers. He's copying all the stuff that you need him to do so that he can just ruin your opponent's day. If I have to force a Jakeem to pick hypersonic speed when he doesn't want to so that he can go back to a 50-50 chance of breaking away, that's great. If I have to force a Goblin King to pick running shot plasticity, so again, he has a 50-50 chance of breaking away, I'm fine with that. This little bugger did his job. This thing is great. Quote me and mark my words. If you're able to give him shape change and scrolls, yeah, do that. Just do it. Alright. So yeah. Alright. Anyway, going in, disappointment, Daredevil, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. That's horrible. You don't see anything cool. Like, oh, he has, he move him his full speed value. Daredevil can use Precision Strike as a free, make close combat attack, Precision Strike as a free action. Something cool like that. That would have been great. Or, hey, Daredevil, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., give him an assassin, token, thing. And like, oh, he's going off to kill somebody, That would have been, better. Or like intel tokens that could work like Outwit, or there's tons of cool stuff you could have done. But, that didn't happen. Then you have Captain America with the hammer. That's just disappointing. For 100 points, that's just pathetic. Considering like the Chase Captain America we have previous, having Avengers Defenders War, this is a joke. Like, all the Captain Americas in Avengers Defenders War are way better than this crappy Captain America here. And you're going to say, but hey, Dark Logos, you get ranged combat expert and energy shield deflection your entire time. And I'm like, yes, and I get charge mine, for my move and attack power. I'm not feeling it. Now you also can say like, hey, but look, Dark Logos, he has this thing where he can put tokens on his opponents, and I'm like, so does the Iron Man from, I think it's Captain America: Civil War, and you can play him at 45 points and do the exact same thing, and there's no point limitation. So yeah. Alright, so now we're at the super rares, and this is where this actually gets sort of decent. First off, Gertrude and Old Lace, right here, all the goodness. You play it if you want Runaways, but at 50 points, and I would say you combine it with a 20-point medic, such as Night Nurse. If you go through this whole entire thing, you can get a nice little interesting battery going. I wouldn't say it's a don't die team, but it's pretty good. You have My Parents Only Left Me One Thing. At the beginning of the game, place adjacent to Old Lace bystander. When Old Lace would take damage, you may instead deal Gertrude Yorks and Old Lace 1 unavoidable damage. Okay. I like this. Now, why do I like this? You functionally have this Velociraptor. Technically has 5 clicks of life, but you're not taking damage equal to what it's dealt. So that means like you have 2 or 3 of these interactions, then you just roll for support. Or if you find a way to give, Gertrude and Old Lace regen, more power to you. So yay, I like that. Then you have the Young Avengers Assemble. Gertrude and Old Lace can use leadership. When they do and succeed, you may instead remove an action token from one friendly character with the Young Avengers or Runaway keywords, regardless of adjacency or point value. Now, this can be really good if you combine it with Stature, or in the future we actually get some Young Avengers or Runaways that don't suck. So there we go. This figure is actually money. Now, again, some of you would say, Dark Logos, why are you light on this figure and so harsh on so many other figures? Well, let's look at what we're getting. We're paying 50 points. We have the Avengers keyword. This character has stealth, super senses, so it can sort of protect itself. It has a nice leadership power, and if it gets past that, it has outwit and willpower. This figure is magically delicious. Okay? It's not bad. And then we look at Old Lace. Old Lace's charge, Blaze Claw's fangs, toughness, empower, with an 11 attack, 2 damage, 17 defense, and a 10 move. This is good. This is good. Okay, now some of you might say, well, what if he had like a 3 damage? No, we don't want a 3 damage on this Pog. Okay, all I want is for me to roll Blaze Claw's fangs and piss off people as I blades them. That's it. That's all I really want. If you go over and you plaster Gertrude and Old Lace figure, fine. This Pog is still, on the field. So there you go. I get this is a really good power generation figure. If you tie someone up with Old Lace and they're like, well, I'm just going to pop the Pog. Okay, Gertrude and Old Lace figure will take the damage. The Pog's still there. So I like this. I like this a lot. This is probably one of the best figures from the set. Definitely top 5. Definitely top 5. Alright. Next up is Cosmic Spider-Man. This one I feel mixed about. And I'll tell you why I feel mixed about it. First off, having figures start at 275, I'm not a fan of that. I understand why, but I'm just not a fan of that. Also, starting in at 275, and you have 4 damage. You need more damage than that. That doesn't work nowadays. And you don't have any RC or anything like that. Yeah. Now, if you also had like the Infinity Gauntlet or something, that would be awesome. That would be awesome. So yeah, I like that. But at 175, I think this is where you start seeing the playability. 175, you come in at a nice spot. I think one thing that is a little bit unfortunate is that you're not going to really maximize the entity gain, in particular because you're losing, your first 4 clicks to your point cost, which automatically just prices you out of a majority of good entities that would really be useful. So that is something to consider. Then you have the 175 point dial. At 175, you're getting a little bit closer to what this figure is actually worth. Hypersonic speed, 11 attack, 4 damage, some impervious. Your Power Cosmic and Spider-Man TA. You actually can afford, to put a Batman or a Superman, figure on your team. So now you can, well, maybe not Superman, but definitely like a Batman or, a Mystics or a Stroll or something cool. A PD figure. I don't know. Something that's great. I like that. So not only that, when we look at the 175, you're getting access to Pulse Wave on click 2, which I think is really useful, but technically it is click 6 on the dial. But it's running shot Pulse Wave with an 11 attack, whereas at the 275, you're getting Hypersonic Speed Pulse Wave with an 11 attack, which those two don't work together. Then you have a running shot Pulse Wave with a 10 attack. That's not as good. But having an 11 attack with 4 damage Pulse Wave, I really like that. Okay, then moving on to the 75 point dial, and I think that this is by far the most useful and creative dial, is that you have Sidestep, Psychic Blast, 4 damage. This is just wonderful. Right here, 4 clicks, very great, really great. I think this is. I feel like you're going to get a lot of utility out of this. Now the problem comes in is that your last 2 clicks you have regen. Under new regen, this is going to suck. Like, it's really not as useful. Under current regen, this is again sort of magically delicious because you can get from where you're regening at to running shot Pulse Wave. Under new regen, with running shot Pulse Wave 11 attack. Under new regen, you would get to 10 attack, 4 damage at best. So I'm mixed on this figure at 175, 275 or 175, even though I do think there is viability at 175. But at 75 points, I think that's your money. Then you're looking at its improved targeting, ignores elevated hindering blocking, and destroys blocking after actions resolve. And with that, I feel that's where the game changes. He just takes shots. The 7 range is okay. It's not the best, but you can easily manipulate that. And I also feel like he's going to be in this this niche situation where I see people playing shenanigans with him on walled maps. And if you think you're safe playing 3 Alan Scotts, I think those days are over. I just think those days are over. Alright. Next up is Peter the Hunter. I'm not going to say he's immortal. I will tell you, read him yourself. Okay? Read him yourself. I will be completely honest, though. This is the one where I really wish he didn't have from an alternate Earth, because I feel like that's too much of a power boost to a character. Now, also you have to get the enslaved Craven family ruling, and here's why I would say you would want a ruling. When you ID card in Green Arrow, you got his tokens. But when you ID card or swapped in Rick Jones, you didn't get his Pog, his bystander. So I don't know how, like, depending on when and where you do it, would you be able to swap in Peter the Hunter? Let's just say first turn, it would still be beginning of game. Because this doesn't say during force construction that you get the 4 bystanders. So I don't know. There needs to be some clarification on this. Because if I could swap in a 90-point Peter the Hunter, and I know that this is going to work out well and get rid of, my Spider-Man 100-point Hyper Spidey, and my opponent has all this like plasticity and jank. This ain't bad. This ain't bad at all. And I know there's some people that think, oh, he's crap, blah, blah, blah. He's really on the verge of don't die. And if you don't think that he doesn't have any utility, the pure fact that he gets an outwit Pog from Alyosha is killer. So not only do I have exploit weakness, but I also have outwit to get rid of your prob or your perplex or whatever else, and I can blade you. I can charge blade you. I can blades exploit you. I'm designed to be up in your face. He doesn't have a team ability, and that's fair. He doesn't need one. He really doesn't need one. So yeah, Peter the Hunter, definitely money. Here it comes. Walking down the street, and I was ready to do the Monkeys theme song, and then I forgot a good chunk of it. Okay, let's talk about Goblin King. And I know in the background somebody's like, finally. I had to like flip-flop through this entire thing to finally hear you talk about what I spent I was waiting 40 minutes for you to talk about this thing. Okay, Goblin King. Let's get into it. 275, 175, 75. You're going to see 175 and 75 at Worlds. Purely being honest. Why is that? First off, he doesn't have any move and attack built in starting off. He doesn't have any damage powers built in starting off. Let me rephrase, move and attack. He has respectable damage reduction, and he has prob and late dial perplex. So now you're like, okay, so what's the hype about? You already know the hype about. We have Infinity Gauntlet trait. Give Goblin King a free action and choose 2 standard powers. Goblin King can use the chosen powers until he chooses again. Why is this big? It's big because he can pick Charge Flurry. He can pick Hypersonic Speed and Perplex. He can pick Running Shot Pulse Wave, and he just has it until he has it again. He can pick Outwit and Perplex. He can pick TK and Prob. There are tons of combinations that he can do and just have. And because his dial starts a click earlier at 175 than Cosmic Spider-Man, it still makes him slightly viable when it comes to playing entities. It definitely Eclipso. So that's another reality as well that has to be considered. When we look closely, there's several key elements that Goblin King just gets past that a lot of people haven't noticed. Number one, because he flies and he has phasing up front, he can just be like, yeah, I'm here. And I dropped off so-and-so. Okay, the second thing is that he can not only just sort of, drop ship on top of you, but he can be like, I have energy shield deflection and combat reflexes. I am a 20. Like, straight up. Or you could just say, hey, all your guys that would be attacking me would be melee. I have combat reflexes and super senses. Come at me, bro. Come at me. Being power cosmic means, yeah, he can't be outwitted. So you can't get rid of his prob without using a can't use power. And there's nothing that you can do to get rid of his damage reduction outside of use penetrating damage. This is very frustrating. Then you have forced to relive your worst nightmare. When an opposing character misses Goblin King with an attack after action resolve, give that character a nightmare token. Characters with a nightmare token modify their attack values by -1. When a character with a nightmare token makes an attack after action resolve, remove 1 nightmare token from that character. At 75 points, this is really strong. Combined with, a BGA, combined with BGA, combined with Red Sun Wonder Woman. Like, there's just so many things that you can do to make this, at the 75 point version, really stupid. You're like, oh, hey, I have energy shield deflection and super senses. Did you shoot at me and miss? Oh, yeah, okay, so now you get this nightmare token, and you're a -1 attack. And, oh, guess what? Red Sun Wonder Woman kicks in, so you're -2 attack against me, and -1 damage. So, yeah, I'm still going to be energy shield deflection and super senses, but now functionally to this one particular character, I'm a 22. Yes, this is the party that we're signing up for Origins. And you can sort of see why I've been a bit busy. Okay, this sucker here completely ruins a lot of stuff. Now, at 175, I could come back and be like, yeah, this is close to being a Jakeem killer. And I say close. And the main reason I say close is that you could mod his damage up where he could almost one-shot Jakeem. And if Jakeem didn't have regen on his last click, I would pretty much guarantee that you would kill Jakeem in the second, salvo. Alright. Unless you're able to, like, drop ship Jakeem out, plus he regens, plus you have a medic there to heal him, most likely Jakeem's dead if you're able to get the first Alpha Strike with a capped out damage with Goblin King. Okay. In reverse, Jakeem can one-shot Goblin King at 175. Almost to can. Those are very, very thin lines. Very thin lines. So there is some risk to Goblin King. Alright, to playing him. Because if I do have a way of maxing out my damage with Jakeem to 7 and just say, ride it all on the dice, Pulse Wave, running shot Pulse Wave, and it's a single target running shot Pulse Wave, I don't know what to say. Goblin King's going to be dead. DED dead. Like ghetto dead. On the side of the road dead. Country road dead. Okay? Blood in the streets dead. Alright, so if you don't recognize, like, the risk of Goblin King, I do also want you to recognize the strengths. You can do combos Jakeem can't do. But at the same time, Jakeem does have the ability to one-shot that buttocks. Alright, so I'm just pointing this out. From a pure on utility strength piece, you're more likely to see a 75-point Goblin King than a 175-point Goblin King. A 175-point Goblin King has very distinct advantages of pick a power. The problem is building a solid theme team around it. Yes, you have Monster. Yes, you can play BGA with it and several other good figures with it. And I am fully down with that. The problem comes in is rounding out those last few points of actually giving Goblin King some measure of support. Not support, measure of an attacker at 175, because it's really hard to pack in a decent monster attacker. But, hey, you can go in and disagree with me on that. Advocate is interesting. I wouldn't mind it if we didn't have 80 different Daredevils in the set. Punisher of the Strange. I like this guy. 100 points, reasonable. 7 clicks. Reasonable. This is really good. Right here. I have an incentive to play an entity on this. I have an incentive to build around this. I have an incentive to start thinking about this. Alright, running shot, psychic blast. Toughness up front. Okay, that's not bad. I'm liking this. Alright, improved targeting, ignores hindering. Yay, I can shoot all these stealth willpower Jakeems with supreme intelligence. Yay. From an alternate Earth. If this character is on your sideline, you may give a free action to a friendly character named Doctor Strange, blah blah blah, or Punisher, and you can swap them in and bring in freaking Punisher of the Strange. Yay, I like this. Alright, cool. End of the X-Vampires. Characters with the monster keyword and adjacent opposing characters can't be healed. This guy comes in and says, I'm going gangster on this. None of this regen and stuff, none of this medic stuff. I'm shutting this down. Okay, so I like it. And if we get in a point where the monsters like Goblin King gets too ridiculous, yeah, you're probably going to see a Punisher of the Strange here or there. And I really do enjoy that. Definitely up there, not necessarily, break the bank for, but, think about it. Then you have Peace Machine. Peace Machine is on the same gauge as BGA, same gauge as 75-point Goblin King. His utility cannot be ignored, and to do so is your downfall. You're like, Edward's gone melodramatic Old Testament on us today. No, I'm being realistic. This dude you cannot sleep on. From multiple reasons. Reason number 1, 19 defense up front. Reason number 2, he's packing TK. He's automatically useful right there at that point price of 50. Then he's a flyer, which means that he can be a taxi or a TKer. He's good either way. He has sidestep, so he can just sort of shuffle around. He has outwit into 7 range, so he's above the standard range of outwit. Right there, you're getting your money. TK and outwit, you're paying 50 points for this previously in the past, but now you're getting the flyer plus a 19 defense plus an outwit. This is great. He's 4 clicks, but I know some of you would say, oh, that's so short, blah, 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 not that great, blah, blah, blah. But I also want to come back and say, like, yes, he's 4 clicks, and even add on to it, he has 0 damage. But as a utility piece, ask yourself, Jean Grey has damage. How many times have you attacked with Jean Grey? Think about that. And I'm not saying a TK attack. I mean a shoot, pew, pew attack. Punch attack, slap, slap. She got feisty with Scott. Type attacks. Oh, yeah, you haven't. I thought so. So, isn't that just wasted stats? Yes, it's wasted stats. Would I rather have a Jean Grey with the 18 defense and 0 damage than have the Jean Grey I have now? Yes, I would. Okay, so coming back, you have Peace Machine. He has Stark Industries, armor, politician, soldier, keyword, all good stuff. His trait, fine-tuned repulsors. Peace Machine can use Force Blast. When he does, he may target opposing characters within 3 squares and line of fire. So I sidestep, and then I Force Blast you. Or I can TK you. Because people forget you can do a ranged combat action or a melee combat action to use TK to place your opponent. Oh yeah, you can do that. And use TK's range of 8. So there you go. Then you have Suppression Field, which is the big deal. If a character would take 4 or more damage, it takes 3 instead. Now, you're already getting a utility piece that's above par. You're already getting that. So getting this on top of everything else, I know some of you would say, oh, that's a bummer. You just nerfed my big guy's damage. Build Swarm. Build Swarm. It by far fits, the use of Peace Machine. Play Overdrive, get all your guys into position, build Swarm. I think that's like your best play. The fact that this character TKs, sidesteps, flies, outwits, can force blast 3 away, I don't see where the problem is. I really don't. You have choices in what you can do, but I see this character paid for its points before he even got to his trait. It's 4 clicks deep. Yes, it can get punked by a running shot pulse wave, but I doubt, and I seriously doubt this, that someone will allow their Peace Machine to just be murked that easily. I don't see that happening. So yeah, this is probably the number 2 most influential figure in the set. And number 1, of course, is Goblin King. Number 3 is a tie between Peter the Hunter and Cosmic Spider-Man. I'm just saying that right now. Scarlet Centurion is cool. In-Betweener is cool. None of them are really worth playing. Then you have Chases. You have the Venom Hulk. It's sort of crap until you get to 100 points. I'm just going to be honest. The 100 points, give me that all day, where I can TK up a Flurry 12 attack 5 damage. I'll do that with Invincible. Yeah, I'll do that. Yeah, I'll pay 100 points for that. Also have Plasticity and Shape Change and automatically break away. I'll do that. He has a Quake Super Strength power. When Venom Hulk uses Quake, he may instead deal his printed damage value. I'll do that. So why am I paying 190 points again for this? For this? Yeah. No, this is dumb. This is so dumb. Even if you have the special damage power at the 190, Venom Hulk can use poison and has a range of 4, which I wouldn't have put those two things together, but okay. When Venom Hulk hits a single opposing character with a ranged attack, you may place that character adjacent to Venom Hulk after actions resolve. Yay, he has a get over here mechanic. Okay, great. Then we have Venom Punisher. Yeah, I like this. He's stealth, 12 attack, 6 range, 100 points, 3 damage. We sort of seen this before. It's not horrible. He has exploit, weakness, and perplex. It's not horrible. It's not great either. We have a couple other chases. Probably 4 more. Probably 4 that we hadn't seen already. So, I can wait. And normally I do these reviews when we've seen everything, but we've seen the majority of it. So, that's it. I'd like to thank y'all for listening to today's show and bearing with me. As you can see, most of the set is literally a turd with a cherry on top. And I would encourage people to buy at their own risk. I don't think that this is a good set. I think that this is a turd that they had to put out to try to get some money because they had a decent Elseworld set. And I also think that Marvel really put their hand in there and said, hey, we are pushing these properties. We want you to go in and focus on these properties only. And when you do What If and you don't do X-Men and you don't do Fantastic Four, you're wasting our time. I mean, the best ones that you could have done that everybody would have been happy is What If the Fantastic Four had different powers. That would have been great. You also could have done the What If Age of Apocalypse, didn't end, and you just make the humans from the end of the Age of Apocalypse. That, you know, you could have made those. So there's a bunch of things that I look back at this and I look at it as a completely wasted opportunity by WizKids. But I also think that Marvel had a lot more to do with the licensing limitations than previously considered. So, alright, that's it for today's show. I'd like to thank you all for listening. It's late. You already know the typical stuff. I'm going to be busy. I'm just not going to front. I'm just going to be busy. So I'll try to throw out another show before Origins. If I can't, I'm going to try to do video updates from Origins. So thanks for listening. And remember, we all have to start over sometime.